Now for number 5, there are 8 parts to number 5. So starting with 5a, we have n to the 5th times n to the negative 3. Alright, so when you're multiplying with like bases, you just add the exponents. So that's just going to be n and then to the power of 5 plus a negative 3. Well, adding a negative is the same as subtracting, so this is really just 5 minus 3, or n squared. Alright, for part b, you've got s to the 7th power times t to the 7th power. So now the bases aren't the same, the exponents are the same. Alright, so when the bases are the same, you can just multiply them together and then raise it to the power once, the entire quantity. For part c, r to the 12th power over r to the 4th power. Since we're dividing, we're going to subtract the exponents, the top minus the bottom. So r to the power of 12 minus 4. So this is just r to the 8th power. Alright, for d, let's see, 2a over b, and then the entire quantity to the 5th power. Alright, so the power of 5 applies to every factor. So this is the same as 2 to the 5th, a to the 5th, over b to the 5th. And typically when you have the variables mixed with the numbers, and if the numbers are easy to compute, like 2 to the 5th, your option's probably going to come out as 32, and then a to the 5th over b to the 5th. And that would be considered the simplified form. For part e, w to the 5th power to the negative 3rd power. So when you have a power raised to a power, you multiply them. So this is w to the negative 15th power. And say, for example, they don't want a negative exponent. Alright, now there'd be nothing wrong with this for an answer. If it was one of the options, you could pick it. But if they specify pick an answer with no negative exponents, you can put it in the denominator with a positive exponent. Alright, so now for part f, 5 to the 0 times d cubed. Alright, well 5 to the 0 power. Alright, well any number to the 0 power is 1. Unless x happens to be 0. Okay, but anything to the 0 power is 1. So 5 to the 0 is just 1 times the d cubed. So your answer here is just d cubed. For g, we've got x to the 10th power, y to the negative 1 over x to the negative 5th power times y to the 5th power. Alright, so I can handle the x's separately and the y's separately. So since the x's like bases, I'm going to subtract the exponents. So this is going to be x to the power of 10 minus a negative 5. That times y and then negative 1 minus 5. Alright, I'll give myself some room here. Alright. So this is x, so again, subtracting a negative is the same as adding, so 10 plus 5 to get 15. And then y, negative 1 minus 5 is a negative 6. And then they'll usually give you an answer where you don't pick with a negative. But there's nothing wrong with this for an answer per se. So I could rewrite this as x to the 15th over y to the positive 6th power to get rid of the negative sign. Alright, and lastly for h, we've got 3x over y quantity squared divided by 1 over y to the 5th. Alright, so if I apply these exponents to everything, so 3 squared is 9, x squared over y squared divided by 1 to the 5th power, 1 to any power is 1, and then y to the 5th. Alright, so this is 9x squared over y squared. To divide by a fraction is to multiply by its reciprocal. Okay. Now, even though these are kind of across from each other, we're multiplying. Alright, the y squared is in the bottom, the y to the 5th is in the top, so they're like bases, we can just subtract the exponents. So I'm going to end up with 9x squared and then y to the 5 minus 2, which simplifies to 9x squared times y cubed. And that finishes number 5.